Every home has a variety of systems. You have your heating and air, your roof, your structure, all kinds of things. But there is one important part of a home that a lot of us overlook, and it could be really bad if we do. We're talking about your sewer line and your septic system. Yep, that's what we're talking about today. And if you're buying a home or if you're a homeowner and you need some peace of mind, you're going to want to listen in. Welcome to House Talk on KAFM 88.1 Community Affairs. This is a monthly program. Features local experts to discuss real estate topics of interest to home buyers and sellers here in Mesa County. I'm your host. I'm Kate Porras. I'm a realtor at RE/MAX 4000. Our guest today is Chris Heinemann. He is the owner of Scope It Out. It's a sewer and septic inspection company here in Grand Junction. Chris, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Give us just a little bit of background on you.
So I'm a former home inspector. A few years ago, started to engage in sewer line inspections and ultimately ended up a couple of years ago getting into septic inspections. Found that there's a deficiency here in Mesa County on how that's being processed and being done. I also provide my clients with drain line cleaning, sewer line cleaning, and we camera all the work when we're done. So just bringing a whole new level to the inspection process and the cleaning process for the client.
So on most homes, you have either a septic system or a sewer line. In case people don't know the difference, what's the difference between the two?
So the sewer line is connected to city sewer, so it goes to a treatment facility. Septic system is also known as an on-site wastewater treatment system. So that's the responsibility of the homeowner, and all the care, the replacement, repairs, all has to be done on-site there.
And what are some of the most common problems? Let's start with this sewer line. That's what I think most people are familiar with, especially if you're in city limits, those types of things. Septic tends to be a little more outskirts of town or more rural areas. So let's talk about sewer line first. What are some of the most common problems that you see with sewer lines on homes?
A lot of times root intrusion, of course. Root growth is always an issue. It can happen with any type of sewer pipe, so it doesn't really matter. Installation issues, of course. My own house, 21 years old, plastic pipe. Spent years listening to my wife tell me to camera our sewer line. And I bought a jetter and wanted to play with it. Went in and cameraed my sewer line. The line had been punctured when they installed it, and there was a big root ball growing in there. It doesn't matter the age of the home. We find expensive repairs on brand new construction, as well as all the way down to old homes. It's just an important service to get done when you buy a home, an insurance policy for.
So you brought up a good topic, because I hear this from my buyers all the time when they're purchasing a home, and I say you should really get the sewer line scoped to make sure that there's nothing wrong. And they're like, oh, it's a brand new home. You and I actually have been working together with a client, brand new home. And sure enough, you did the sewer scope and found out that there was a problem.
There was. It actually, that was rather fortuitous because fiber optics had just gone through the neighborhood and clipped this particular sewer line, and it needed a replacement. Yeah,
and that, in full disclosure, that company was great to deal with. Mm-hmm. They got out there, they fixed it right away. We got to close on time. So that company, that fiber optic company, was great. But I also have another client. She's been in her home about a year. It's a brand new home just built in 2023. And while I was over there, we're talking to her, and she's like, Kate, something's funny's happening with my toilet. And sure enough, she had the guy come out and look at it, and a year-old home had an issue with the sewer line. There was something in the way and wasn't allowing the water and whatnot to flow freely.
Yeah, we see that every once in a while. Jurisdictions don't allow builders to put in, they're called TOTO toilets, or a high-flow toilet. They're not allowed to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. So some of these longer runs, low-flow toilets can cause blockages and soft blockages and backups.
So what happens if you do have a backup? What can happen in your house?
Well, you have sewage everywhere flowing into your tub and your floors, and it's problematic.
That is problematic for sure. A lot of people think, older homes. Now, older homes, obviously those can have issues too. What types of problems do you see with older homes?
A lot of broken pipe. There's a particular pipe specifically that was manufactured between about 1945 and 1975, and that's called Orangeburg. It's kind of a compressed tar paper, if you will. It was manufactured in Orangeburg, New York, and it's pretty much due for replacement at this point. It's beyond its expected useful life. You see a lot of blistering in that, failure with root growth and collapses and ovaling of the pipe, and it's generally widely accepted that it should be replaced if found.
So how old of a home do you need to have to be concerned about that?
Somewhere between 1945 and 1975,
Okay.
usually. They were using it even for repairs up until 1975.
So if you have a house that's of that age, it might be something to consider taking a look at that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, you're listening to House Talk on KAFM Grand Junction. In the studio today, Chris Heinemann with Scope It Out, and we are talking about sewer and septic systems. A lot of home buyers know about the general home inspection, but that doesn't cover usually the sewer or the septic, correct?
That's correct, unless your inspector provides that service for you, and a lot of them do now, which is great. They've brought it to the forefront, and it's important to know whether or not they are able to locate the damage, because if they don't, you have to pay somebody another fee to come out and locate, whether or not they can go the distance and get all the way to the main line, because we see even main taps where there's damage, and if you can't see the whole pipe, you're responsible all the way from the house to the main in the sewer. And
Okay.
It's very costly. Once you break into that street, it could be a minimum of a $10,000 bill.
Yikes. And I think that's a key note for people to understand, too, is it is the homeowner's responsibility, as you said, from the house to the main sewer line, which is often in the street or somewhere else. But that distance is the homeowner's responsibility.
Yeah, if you're in an alley or any kind of right-of-way, it's a very costly repair.
Okay. What kind of equipment, then? You need some specialized equipment to do this, I would take.
Yeah, they make all sorts of price ranges for sewer cameras. Ultimately, the goal is to see if there's any damage, but the equipment I use is a high-end sewer camera that allows me to, kind of get through things that other people can't get through. I use locators. I can actually locate the whole sewer line with a transmitter, so I have some pretty high-tech tools that I use.
And then if there is a blockage, how does that get fixed?
Some people will like to cable that. Oftentimes, if it's roots, cabling isn't as effective as jetting. High pressure water with jetting, the jetter I use is pretty much 4,000 PSI, 10 gallons a minute. What I'll do is I'll go in and figure out what I'm dealing with first by cabling, and then finish cleaning the line. So that's the difference between clearing and cleaning. Clearing is just poking a hole through, getting it flowing. Cleaning is actually cleaning the line, figuring out what the problem is, and finding solutions moving forward.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about septic systems, because we do have a lot of property here in Mesa County that is on septic.
Yeah.
So what are some of the key issues there that people need to be thinking about?
Well, this is where the sewer camera on the inspection comes in handy. I've been on several inspections with the sewer camera or been involved in that, where the listing had it as city sewer when it was actually on a septic system. So the seller didn't even know they were on a septic system in some instances. So it's really important to have this checked out as well.
What are some of the big issues that you see with septic? What problems happen with septic?
Well, properly inspecting a septic system is really important. My certification revolves around the NAWT, National Association of Wastewater Technicians. The EPA recommends NAWT inspector to inspect the system, and every jurisdiction across the country that has any kind of septic inspection regulation requires an NAWT certification. So it's really important to be dealing with the right people, because a lot of the problems I find are problems that are not found on a drive-by or a cursory inspection that is most common in our area right now. So I'll find brand new drain field and leach fields not operating properly. I find collapsed leach lines. I find failing systems, cracked tanks. Even minor cracks are tank replacement.
And this is different than, there's the adage of you need to have your septic cleaned every 4 years, I believe it is. That's different, though, than actually having it inspected, correct?
Right. Well, the inspection I do is a system inspection. It's not a tank inspection. So there's a marketable difference. And yes, maintenance is generally recommended every 3 to 5 years on a pump. And many people around here go way beyond that.
Yeah.
And it gets costly. We just, a pumper, a friend of mine and I were dealing with this last week. It cost them twice as much as it would have cost them had they been taking care of the system.
Yeah, take care of it at the beginning. So it doesn't cost you more in the
Right.
end. Are septic inspections required here in Mesa County?
They are not currently required. So yeah, no, it's there's kind of a wide variety of what you get from an inspection. Like I said, everywhere from just lifting a lid, telling folks that they need a new system, to just tank inspections, to a full-blown 2-hour inspection that I perform.
So I think it's important then for people to really ask those questions when they have someone coming out to do whatever work, that they know exactly what it is this person's going to be doing and the extent of the work.
Right, and if the seller says, "Well, we had it pumped and inspected," it's important that the buyer starts, like you said, ask questions. Hey, was the system inspected or was it just the tank?
Yeah, what does that mean? And make sure you have those details.
Right.
Good stuff. Chris, if people have more questions for you, how can they get a hold of you?
They can reach me at my cell phone number, 970-210-2471. And they're welcome to ask me any questions about their systems. And if I may touch on one other point real quick,
Sure.
Kate, when we were talking about doing septic inspections and the requirements in Mesa County, the state of Colorado actually has a program that Mesa County can participate in. This falls on the Mesa County Board of Health to make this decision. 22 counties in the state of Colorado require the seller to do a septic inspection with a pump, regardless of their last pump, make any repairs, replacement, or tie into city sewer if need be prior to getting across the finish line in title.
The
It was
sale.
actually redlined in your contracts this year. So it's important to note that the state of Colorado understands the value of doing a complete system inspection versus the aforementioned
Just the clean out.
drive-by and
Yeah.
cleaning. Yeah.
Good stuff. Chris, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate having you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This segment airs on the second Wednesday of each month. You can also listen to podcasts on demand at kafmcommunityradio.org. And make sure to join us next month for another edition of House Talk. If there's a topic you want me to cover, you can let me know. You can find me at kateporras.com or 970-985-8555.